Last week, the Gratton Cup Series headed to Sin City in Las Vegas, and it was Dawson Miller who rolled the dice, and he won the jackpot, getting the checkered flag first with a late race pass on Rogel Dawn. But tonight, we head to a brand new racetrack on the Gratton Cup Series calendar, the Colorado Motor Speedway here in Lakewood, southwest suburb of Denver, for race 7 of the 2025-26 Gratton Cup Series. This is the Budget Truck Rental 500 from the Colorado Motor Speedway. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Gratton Cup Series for 2025-2026. As I mentioned before, the Colorado Motor Speedway for race 7 of 30, the Budget Truck Rental 500. This is the very first time we've ever been to the Colorado Motor Speedway. It's about 2/3 of a mile in length, 125 laps coming your way tonight, and it's our first actual proper night race of the season, points paying wise anyway. We did have the duels at night, but it adds a bit of a different dynamic, and really thoroughly looking forward to this one. I'm Stuart Gratton, your host for tonight, and I've got two very special guests. I've got the team owner, a couple team owners, team owner of Team Velocistar, Matt Tuck, and we've got team owner for NS Racing, Nathan Stapleton, joining us in the booth. So welcome to you both. I'll start with you, Matt. You know a bit about the Colorado Motor Speedway, and both your cars made the race, and both cars start inside the top 15. So what do you think of this racetrack? What are you looking forward to in this race?
Yeah, I think it'll be obviously it's a good showing that Daniel was finally able to make the race after a hot minute having to sit on the sidelines here on race day. But no, I'm excited. Obviously, Colorado's a very fun racetrack. Can be kind of a 2-lane, 1-lane racetrack, you know, depending on the air temps. And we know that top lane in Stock Car World Cup has always been very tricky to navigate. So it should be fun here tonight. Lots of passing opportunities, though, I will say, especially early on in the run. So keep an eye out here.
No doubt about that. And Nathan, I'll go to you next. Of course, you've had an interesting year. Won the first 2 races with Travis winning the 500, and then Benny Watson, of course, winning Atlanta. It's been a mixed bag of fortune since, with some mechanical issues. So we've got some good pace going. The 95 starts up inside the top 6 in this race. So if you're starting up in the front of this race, I mean, what do you have to do to go out and win here in the Budget Truck Rental 500?
Well, I feel like with this being a little bit of an unknown, you gotta be up front here tonight at Colorado. Gotta make as many moves as possible early on. It's quite a long race, 125 laps, so you gotta make some moves, and you gotta see if who can make some moves, and we gotta see if Alexander will come on from the pole, and we gotta see if some of the NS Racing cars can move the way up from the back to the front. Like I said, it's been a very up and down season for NS Racing, and it's kind of been an up and down season as a whole for a lot of people, because a lot of drivers up in points deep in the field here tonight. So we gotta see how it all goes down at the mystery of Colorado.
Absolutely. It is a very up and down championship at the moment. You look at someone like an Alexander Rowe, who starts on the pole tonight. He's a lot further down in points than you would have imagined at the start of the season. You take a look at the championship standings coming into this race. It's on your screen now. Dawson Miller on the back of that win last week at Las Vegas. He is now the championship leader by 8 points, although he starts last in this race. For the second time, he had a mechanical issue in qualifying. It happened to him in Kota. Luckily, this track you can actually make your way forward a bit easier. So he's got a lot of work to do starting from the rear of the field. Henrik Watt is second in the championship, 8 points back. He starts 5th tonight, and he's really the only main contender at the moment that starts well in this race. Noah Clifton, 3rd in the championship, 10 points back. He hasn't fared much better than Dawson Miller. He starts 33rd in this race. Brandon Bent in the 27, the 2-time champ. He is 4th in the championship, 20 points back. He starts 12th. Tristan Allen, the Texas winner, reigning Cup champion, 22 back, 5th in the points. Kelly Lee, 33 back, 6th in the championship, starts 24th. Dominic Anthony, 39 back. He's 7th in the championship. He's actually recovered quite well after the misery that was Daytona. But he starts 16th in this race. Matthew Hubert, who's done a great job as a rookie this season. He is 8th in the championship. 40 points back. He starts 26th. Julio Cesar is 49 back. 9th in the points. He starts 36th in this race. And then Charlie Davenport, 10th in points, starts 9th tonight. So only 2 of the top 10 in the championship actually starting in the top 10 here at Colorado. So it's going to be a fascinating race. 125 laps, as we mentioned. And it's a 2 pit stop race. First stops will be coming around about lap 45 to 50, in and around that range. So we'll see how the strategy falls in this one. And it can be a treacherous track on occasion on entering pit road as well, so something to keep in mind. Take a look at the starting lineup. You'll see it on the left side of your screen in a minute, but we'll run through the top 20. Alexander Rowan, the number 51, starts on the pole, second pole of the season. He's 23rd in points, as we mentioned. 3 finishes outside the top 30 in the last 3 of the last 4 races, I should say. So, been a frustrating few weeks for the driver of the number 51. He's got Colin Denton alongside in the 21, who's also a bit further down the championship. He would have hoped 25th in points, but he's found his footing in the season. He starts on the outside of the front row. Nathan Smith, great qualifying for Nathan Smith in the 25. He starts 3rd tonight alongside Braden Perez, who finished 4th a couple of weeks ago at Oregon. He starts 4th tonight. Henry Gore, COTA winner, 2nd in the championship. He's got a really good chance of making up some ground tonight. He's joined by Eli Bright in the 95 for NS Racing. And Duncan Ward in the 54 for Team Velocista is the highest starting Honda in this race. So a nice qualifying effort by the 54. Kean Rowley in the 10 starts from the 8th position. Charlie Davenport, we mentioned, top 10 in the championship coming into this race. He starts 9th alongside Thomas Troxell for Pacific Racing, the number 62. Nicholas Samadeo in the 45 starts from the 11th position. Brandon Bent, 4th in points. We mentioned he starts from 12th. Josh Williamson, that's a very good qualifying for Josh Williamson. He starts 13th in this race for Full Frontal Motorsports alongside Jared Oren in the 99. Daniel Paulus Jr. in the 63, first start since Atlanta for Paulus. He starts 15th alongside Dominic Anthony, as we mentioned, 7th in points. Jake Rogers had a mechanical failure last week at Las Vegas. He's now 16th in the championship. He starts 17th alongside the runner-up from last week, Rogal Dawn, who was frustrated. He couldn't quite get the job done at Las Vegas. So then Tristan Allen and Benny Watson round out the top 20 of the 2 championship combatants from Season 5. So Matt and then Nathan, who do you think is going to go to victory lane here in the Budget Truck Rental 500?
Well, I think those hair gel cars have been really quick this year, and I think they're due for victory lane, so give me Charlie Davenport tonight to put the 52 in victory lane.
I like it, but I'm going to go with a little bit more of a trap position-based pick. Give me the Pulsar. It's like Alexander Rowe, I think he has a good car in that number 51 machine for Gifford Technologies Inc., and I think Alexander Rowe will win here at Colorado.
Well, Alexander Rowe is in the best possible position. Going to lead the field to the green as the pace car dives left on a pit road. Short track, 2/3 of a mile, 125 laps of action coming your way. And green flags in the air. We're underway here in the Budget Truck Rental 500 from Colorado. Well, Alexander Rowe did not waste any time in car 51, rocketing out to the lead. Got a great jump on the start as Nathan Smith working on Denton for 2nd. Trying to make that one stick and should be able to do so now. He's got Henry Gore right behind him trying to follow him through, and he will do so, and now has a look to the inside of the 25 here for 2nd. Trying to make it a Gifford Technologies Incorporated 1 and 2, but look at the margin already, 1.2 seconds for Alexander Rowe. Gore gets up to 2nd, and here comes your man, Matt. Duncan Ward in the 54 inside the top 5 going for the 3rd position.
Yeah, we know Duncan's really good on these short ovals. You can see he's getting to the inside of another guy a guy who's won here, Nathan Smith, won here in Stock Car World Cup. Eli Bright behind Duncan Ward. Just a bunch of short track guys who know their way to wheel around this type of racetrack here. Josh Williamson moving up, Daniel Pauls Jr. moving up, Braden Perez is up here. You know, you're seeing guys who know their way around these types of ovals, and they are showing out here and moving up early.
Paulus inside the top 10 at the moment with Williamson. Two guys that are outside the top 35 in points, so they'd love a top 10 run in this race. There's no doubt about that. We've got a battle for third between Ward and the 25er Smith. And looks like Duncan will get that one, make that one stick on the 25. And now Bright to the inside in the 95. And this is Eli's best run, you'd say, so far this year. He's 12th in the championship coming into this race, but perhaps hasn't had the speed of the race-winning speed that we've seen, certainly from Watson, but we've seen it from the 99 at Atlanta. We saw it from the 97 a couple of times this year. But, currently running inside that fourth position at the moment. But Alexander Rose, he has just jetted in the number 51. He is a long, long way up the road, 1.6 seconds already, but it's, of course, still so much time for things to change as Eli now goes to the inside of Duncan Ward here for third.
Well, you mentioned of how Eli's not really had the race-winning pace like some of his other teammates this season, even though he is 12th in the points standings, and right now he might be the second fastest car on the racetrack right now. Alexander will obviously point out to almost a 2-second lead, but Eli Bright is on the move up to the third place spot, and we gotta see of how this all plays out. Still got a long way to go, obviously, not even on lap number 10 of 125, and we gotta see of how pit stops go, how lap traffic might go if that ends up being a factor. But I'm interested of seeing of how this goes if Eli Bright gets up to second, if he can close on to the leader of Alexander Rose, because Rowe is out here early on.
Got that margin to just about 2 seconds, and well, there you go. Eli's got the fastest lap of the race, and Alexander Rose got the second quickest lap in this one. So maybe the 95, if he can get around Henry Gore here for second, he may have something for the 51 in this race. Ward is still in the fourth position. I'll tell you what, Team Velocity, you'd be pretty happy with the way your guys are going, Matt, because fourth and sixth currently for the 54 and 63. It's a great run for Paulus in particular. We mentioned Williamson as well, also outside the top 35 in points. Wants to get back in, so he's a lock for races going forward. Both of these guys, of course, fall into that category. Jake Rogers back in here in the 40, peeking down to the inside now of Williamson. Got a battle for the second position as well, as Bright has closed in on the back of Henry Gore, and he's going to set him up. Yeah, good move down. Very good move down to the inside and set him up well. Entering 1 and 2, and he should be able to get past the 71 and make that one stick. So Eli Bright now up to second. Oh, not done yet. Gore's going to fight it back into turns 1 and 2, but can't quite hold on. So now Bright clear to second.
And we'll see what Eli can do. The car clearly is working well as we work into the run. And the one thing, too, about Colorado, you got 2 pit stops tonight. You're guaranteed to see lap traffic, and you can see the way the racetrack develops. The track evolution, the groove does work its way up a little bit as the tires wear, but it's also very tricky to roll that top. Alexander Rose doing the best job of it so far, but it's tricky to roll that top to keep guys down below, so... Bright's car looks very good so far. 2.5 seconds holding steady. Duncan Ward's closing in. Lots of great racing here early on. Settling into a nice clean groove here early on in this race.
Continue to look down the order. So Rogers now up to 7th. Addison Steinbach's had a good few weeks. He's finished in the top 10 each of the last 3 races. Was very competitive at Las Vegas. And right now he's the highest running DW Ford for the second week running. So Steinbach 11th in the championship coming into this race. Oops. That's, of course, that had to happen right there and then. That's fun. Rogel Dawn is 9th. Runner-up last week at Las Vegas and was frustrated that he couldn't quite hang on there and hold off Dawson Miller. But he'll be pleased with the form that he's been in the last couple of weeks. Anthony inside the top 10 at 39, working his way forward. Max Davis has worked his way forward as well. With the number 6, he's ahead of Braden Perez. trying to work his way back up. Start on the outside. Williamson's dropped back outside that top 10. Tristan Allen, Kean Raleigh. So some of these guys trying to make the most of Dawson Miller being so far down the order, and here's one of them. Noah Clifton started 33rd. He's going for 18th, so he's made. If he can make this one stick, he would have gained 15 spots in this opening run. So keep an eye on this 13 perhaps as the race goes along. There's Crampton. He is 20th at the moment. Colin Denton dropped back a lot from the start. Benny Watson did as well. Brandon Bent outside the top 20 at the moment, so making the most of the opportunity presented. Kelly Lee as well, for that matter. Julio Cesar a long way back, and there's Miller. Still currently outside the top 30 in the 48, but trying to work his way forward. He's right behind his teammate. Thomas Troxel starting inside the top 10. He's actually behind him now. And you mentioned those lap cars, the guys at the back of the field. Eventually, Alexander Rowe will catch them, and how he manages them will be interesting to see. But Bright has cleared away from Gore, and he's got that margin down to under 2.4 seconds, so the gap's stabilising at the front of the field.
It might be stabilizing between the top two, but look at the difference between first and third of Henry Gore, and it's definitely pulling away. 3.5 seconds from Alexander Rowe to Henry Gore, and then Eli Bright obviously is closing in. So I think maybe the 71 is not that strong. I think Duncan's closing in to Henry for that third place spot a little bit. So the long one car might not be dialed in for the Gifford Technologies 71 here tonight, as Duncan is trying to close in for that third place spot. We gotta see how everything plays out. A lot of passing here early on, and unfortunately for Colin Denton, was up front early on, but that's the nature of this track. It's not that hard to make passes, and he started up front, and he is dropping, and he's still dropping throughout the field.
Just got overtaken by his teammate Brandon Bent, and now vulnerable to Jared Oren here in the 99. So outside lane, if you started, he did not get going, Colin Denton. You saw at the start, Road just rocketed in front, and Nathan Smith as well also got a very good start. So he got kind of stuck there, and it's really cost the 21. So he's still losing out. He got Logan Williams here in the 33 now on the inside. So not going well for him at the moment. Want to mention Jake Rogers in car 40. For Premier Racing Motorsports. He's actually worked his way up to 5th, so that's a nice run so far for him. He will be at 6.2 seconds off the lead, such as the performance of the 51 so far, but he's done a nice job to get up to the 5th position. Paulus is still 6th, so this is a very impressive run for Daniel. Be quite happy with that. It hasn't started in 5 races, so or for the last 4 races I should say, but doing very well. Doesn't feel like he's been out of the car particularly long. There's Perez as well, who's gotten better again, has gotten better as the year has gone along. 4th at Oregon a couple of weeks ago, and he's got a very fast car, and he's closing in here on the back off the 63, and he might have a crack getting off. Maybe not this time around, but maybe next time around. He's going to have a run through 4, and he's going to peek down to the inside now. So Brian Perez going for 6th position.
Yeah, that 92 going to get to the bottom of Daniel Paulus Jr. Paulus not really going to put up too big of a fight here 3/4 of the way through this first run. And Perez's car looks solid here early on in the going. Once again, as we've kind of been a theme of the season, Braden Perez definitely the best of the Toyota bunch. But, I mean, today he's got some guys lined up not too far behind him. So there's definitely between Max Davis, Nathan Smith, there's some good Toyotas out here tonight trying to keep pace with him, as Nathan Smith's going to put the bumper to the back of Dominic Anthony, get him up the track. A little bit of that Bristol short track racing that we always love to see here at Colorado. And, talk about that pit stops coming up in about 12 to 15 laps or so. I mean, we got 2 stops here, and if we stay in a groove of this race staying clean, Alexander Rowe, who is starting to check back out from Eli Bright, he is going to lap a lot of cars here tonight if this keeps up. And imagine he's going to start lapping cars here soon. Davis on the move. Another Toyota to keep pace at Perez. Looks Toyotas across the board brought some quick cars here tonight.
You mentioned Perez being probably the standout Toyota. I reckon this guy has been if he isn't the standout Toyota, he'd be right up there. Davis has been excellent. 3rd last week at Las Vegas. And put himself in a very good position here in this race as well. Currently 7th. He's doing a nice job, but they're certainly spreading out a lot. And there you go. He's already caught the back of the field here, Alexander Rowe. So kind of Sustre the first one that he's going to lap. And this is not good for Sustre in particular. He is the man on the cut at the moment. 35th in points. Falls outside. He has to qualify his way in every week, which is not ideal. So right now running last position, and the guys that he's going to be racing at the moment: Caleb Rose in the 32, Logan Williams in the 33. Well, it's not like Caleb Rose are going particularly well either, but certainly the 33. There he is. He's actually ahead of Brandon Bent at the moment, 22nd. So. He's making the most of the opportunity, but Josh Williamson's another one. Paulus, of course, is running very, very nicely. So a few of these guys that could certainly benefit from the way the 59 is running. You see Rogel Dawn trying to make his way past Paulus. Almost gone to the left rear. Gets pretty close to the left rear again. Now gets down to the inside. Paulus moves up out of the groove, and Rogel Dawn here should get this one stick eventually. This is the battle for 8th. And Rogel will get past. He will get past. He's not quite clear yet, but he will get that position done. And here we go. Battle on for the 5th position. Braden Perez has got a very fast car because he's caught up to Rogers before Rogers could get to Ward. And he's now up into the 5th position. So the 92 has got a lot of speed as well.
Absolutely. And really starting to see some of these long-run cars fit into effect, right? Especially these two Toyotas, the Davis and, of course, the 92 of Perez. And I thought Duncan Ward was closing into the 71, but really that's not been the case, as Duncan Ward has kind of fallen off here later on in this one. Now Brian Perez with a great 1, 2, 3, and 4. Great shot to possibly close into Duncan Ward for the 4th place spot. Really liking what we are seeing so far. Got a lot of battles on this short track. Got some bang and bangs, some bumping ones. And gotta see if how pit stops cycle. And we gotta see if how lap traffic ends up working out. Because Blow is in lap traffic. And already we are seeing that gap go from 2.6 down to 1.9. So that's going to be the key feature all night long, is lap traffic might be the determining factor of who wins this race. Right now, Alexander Rowe is in good shape, but we're not even halfway through.
And of course, we've got pit stops imminent in a couple of laps, maybe a few more beyond that. It'll be interesting to see which strategy these guys use, who goes the undercut, who runs it out long. And even though that margin has dissipated a bit, and Bright's clearly got a fast car, but he hasn't had to deal with any of the lap traffic as of yet. Meanwhile, Alexander Rowe has got around at least 5 lap cars, and now he's trying to get around Bryce Egan, which would be the 6th. So clearly the 51's done a very nice job in this race, and all started obviously right at the start, where he just launched away in that first couple of laps. The first 2 laps where he was already 1.2 seconds up on the field. Go back to this battle back in here, because Brad Perez has got around Duncan Ward. So Perez, the 92, is very, very quick. He's already pretty close to the back of Henrik Waugh, so he has a very fast race car. He's got to try and dispatch him got to dispatch the 71 pretty quickly. Rogers now getting around Duncan Ward as well. Battle for the 5th position. Here goes Perez with a big run. He's found a lot of speed in this car down to the inside. Waugh sends it hard into 1 and 2. He's going to try and hold that outside lane, and he's going to make that work. So it's not something you see that often, but I guess we are pretty late on into the run. The tyres are pretty worn out. And Perez, once again, has another crack here at the 71. Good battle between these two.
Perez definitely wants to get a move on here quickly, because he can see Jake Rogers in that 40, who's also having a really good long run car here. These guys all in a spirited battle here for the final podium spot at the moment, and looking to position themselves here. Ooh, Henrik Waugh's car just starting to struggle here. as his tires have to be screaming here at the end of this run.
Oh,
Oh, Dawson Miller is going to
Miller.
be the first one. Dawson Miller is going to be the first one to lead us down pit road. He's not in contention here for the win at the moment, but this is the fun part now at Colorado is you're going to have these guys coming off the bottom, heading into turn 3. They're going to be on fast, fresher tires, and the tire deck here can be, you know, depending on the kind of compound Goodyear brings. We have seen some heavy tire deck at this racetrack. So watch out for these undercut guys. They are going to be flying through this field.
Henrik War's in, and we got a crash! We got a crash on the front!
Oh no!
Eli Bright's around!
Oh no!
From second position, Eli Bright is involved. Not sure if anyone else is involved. We'll have to take a look at that. Caution is out, and that's going to really cost Miller because he's going to be now a lap down. As Alexander Rowe, of course, wins the race back to the line. Eli Bright is still second after all that, so it's not the end of the world for him. But, he'll be able to come down and get some fresh tyres, and so not sure what happened there with the 95, but now you're going to see the leaders all come in, those that haven't already pitted. So Rowe will pit now from the lead. There goes the 95, 92, 40. We'll see if there's any significant damage on the 95. He definitely does have some, but it doesn't look that bad. There's Perez. So we'll see. And 51's actually a fair way ahead. He's got a bit of right side damage too, so not sure if it looks like he may have scrapped the wall somewhere, so he may have been involved in this as well. So we'll have to see in terms of how much involvement these guys had. It's taking the 4 tyres as you would in this scenario, as the whole field will. And no, it's all good. You don't have to repair much. It's back out there. There's the 95, and Henrik War came down right as that yellow came out. So he looks like he may have benefited, or is either a lap down. We'll figure that out. But Alexander Rose, the race leader in the number 51. We'll see what happened to trigger the first caution of the night. So this incident starts a long way up. You're going to see Jack Haas here in the 00 wants to pit, and Julio Cesar does as well. And Cesar's of course on the outside of Christian Vargas. And you can see it's really holding up Gifford. It's holding up Alexander Rowe. You can see how much they're being held up by that. And then Will Parrish, something happens to the 11 right here, is pretty tight. Rowe gets into Vargas, turns him down into Parrish, and that spins the 11 down the front. So Rowe did get involved. He got into the outside wall, and then Eli Bright, I think he must have got run into, either he came up into Eric Monaco. But either way, it's not as bad of an incident as we thought. Well, what it could have been, I suppose. And the 95 is going to be top 5, I imagine, on the restart, given when the yellow came out and everything. So it could have been a lot worse for all involved, especially our race leader Alexander Rowe in the 51, who will retain the lead. But let's take a look at what happened in real time.
Well, pit stop shenanigans, and we have a race flipper here as Vargas gets kind of turned by the race leader of Alexander Rowe. And Will Parrish, an innocent bystander, Eli Bright gets turned. And that is it. Not as bad as we thought it was, but definitely going to be really interesting of how much damage Rowe and Bright have for the top 2 on the racetrack. And right when pit stops were happening, so we will see how this all plays out, as we are almost halfway through this one here at Colorado. And see how much damage Brighton will have on the restart.
No doubt about that. We'll take you back to the restart right now. First caution, by the way, since the Daytona 500. Been a long time. So we've actually had a yellow in this series. Alexander Rowe, I believe, is the race leader. We'll take you back to the restart here at Colorado. Lights are out on the pace car. We're getting ready to go here at the Colorado Motor Speedway. Budget Truck Rental 500. First caution, as we mentioned, since the Daytona 500. Had a few accidents at Coda, but no yellows in that one. Alexander Rowe is the race leader, and with the timing of the yellow, it has really messed the field around. So Rowe and Bright were involved in the incident. They're first and second currently. Braden Perez is third. Duncan Ward and Jake Rogers, that's the top 5. So Henry Gore is a lap down. Julio Caesar is 2 laps down. And then the big guns like Bent and Miller are also a lap down. So that changes a fair bit here in terms of this race and in terms of the championship. But we go back to green. Alexander Rowe, the leader. Jack Haas is a lap down in the 00. So the guy we're going to have to watch here is the 95 and the 92. The 92 very quick on that previous run. You see Rogers not wasting any time to the inside of Ward. And he will get past up into 4th position. Max Davis is in 6th. We've got Dawn. Tristan Allen is also a lap down in the 14, so another big name that's a long way down the order now. Dominic Anthony. And then you've got a bit of a battle back here between Paulus. Looks like Steinbach maybe on the lead lap. Yes, he is. Kean Rowley. 13 at Clifton. So Clifton could be the big beneficiary in terms of the championship here, being 3rd in the points, and the 2 championship leaders at the moment, both at least 1 lap down. As Bright gets around the 71, he's got 2 more between himself and our leader Alexander Rowe, who once again has checked out.
And this is like a perfect opportunity for Rowe. He's going to be kind of unchallenged here on this restart. We've seen how fast he is in clean air, so just getting right back to business here. Eli Bright, to his credit, is trying to work as fast as he can, but it's hard in traffic to do it super quickly. You got guys, even the lap down cars, they're going to challenge you a bit to be in position to get their lap back. Here comes Jake Rogers to the inside of Braden Perez. Here comes Duncan Ward to the inside of Max Davis. Lots of jostling for position here on the restart as these guys are trying to take advantage.
Davis falling back on that outside in the number 6, but the field just so jumbled up at the moment because of that incident and where everybody was on pit road. And that's the one thing about the undercut. If you're Dawson Miller, for example, who is now on the back end of the lead lap, same with Brandon Bent. Bent at the moment 39th, Miller 38th, although they've just got around Colin Denton, that is for position. But a lot of these guys, this is the problem with the undercut, have now lost their laps, and that's killed their chances at a good result here in this race. We continue to work our way through the field. There's the 40 of Rogers, who looks like he's got a very fast car. And he's just continuing to work his way around traffic. Got around Braden Perez, who should be said still having a very good run in the 4th position. And Duncan Ward, this is a very pleasing run, I can imagine, for the 54 team, because this team 29th in points coming into the race. Paulus also in and around the top 10. It's currently 11th, so nice run for you guys at Velocity. But still, Alexander Rowe has got a slightly less of a gap than it was before the yellow. It's 1.6 seconds, and looks like the damage that Bright sustained in that incident doesn't look like it's that bad. As you see, Rogers down to the inside of Gore, and he'll get around him as well.
I think if this race stays green or we have a late race yellow, I think this could be very interesting. As we are definitely seeing some of the faster cars up towards the front of the night being inside of the top 5. Obviously, Rowe, Bright, but Rogers, he's been on the move, picking off the car one by one. Same with Brian Perez, and you cannot count Duncan Ward as well on the move as well. I mean, I see if that ends up working out. Also, the 98 of Steinbach has been a sleeper inside of the top 7, and actually is in 5th. So, as this race goes on, we are seeing the stronger cars that here at Colorado work the way up to the front. And this race is already starting to fly on by on maps that seem like 125. It's going to fly on by the longer it stays green. So I think the top 5, if they want to challenge Alexander, they have to try and push it here very soon on this one before we get to that second round of green flag pit stops. Because we could have a wreck again, and that could change everything on that second round of pit stops.
You mentioned Steinbach before. He's up to 5th in 98. So you've got to keep an eye on him because he has worked his way through pretty well But still at the moment, I mean, Alexander Rowe has basically had at least a second, maybe 2 seconds gap the entire race so far, and he's just been in complete control. He's led just about from start to finish from the pole, and looking very, very nice at the moment, but there's still over 50 laps to go, and another pit cycle. You never know what could happen. It looks like Bright, again, the damage isn't affecting him that much, but perhaps it's having a slight impact. You can see Rogers up to third now. He's got that gap between himself and the 95 under a second. Sees Chavez, the team owner, Premier Racing Motorsports, was very, very close to getting a race win with Rogal Dawn. Very, very close to the lander when Rogers finished second to Benny Watson. And 40 doing a very nice job in this race. Up to the third position. The margin, though, out to 2 seconds from first to second, as the 51 of Rowe continuing to just manage the gap, and he's doing a very, very nice job. There's Steinbach, he's fifth. You see a lot of these guys moving around at the moment. Keenan Rally's found some pace here in car 10. The fastest in practice. Keep an eye on him as the run goes along. Anthony's up to 7th now, ahead of Duncan Ward. Richard Fridge here in the 20. On the inside, gets around the lap car of Vargas. You've got Watson, who looks like he's got maybe a slight bit of damage on the front. Doesn't look like it's very major, but may have some sort of an impact on the aerodynamics. Not that you need that much aero at a track like this. You've got Davis currently. There's actually Logan Williams is currently 11th. This is a great run for Logan, and hey, mention that top 35 battle. Currently going for the 10th position. This would be a great result for him. And going on the inside of Richard Fridge at the same time. So 33 has found some pace in this race. He's now inside the top 10. You've got Davis back in here, Rogal Dawn. Clifton, 14th. Hasn't made as much ground as in this run as he would have liked, given where the 48 is. Paulus is back to 15th. Kelly Lee also could benefit, like Clifton, if you work your way inside the top 10. And then Hubert as well. Same kind of apply to the 8. Jared Oren back in here, Troxel and Sam Adeo, the top 20. But the lead of the race still is Alexander Rowe, and he has pulled that gap now to 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, and Rowe's just, I mean, he is just on rails here tonight. I don't know. You're going to have to undercut him if you want a shot to win this race, because nobody has shown the ability to just drive up there and even get within 2 seconds of him. So, I mean, he's just stretching the gap now. Eli Bright's holding it there. Tristan Allen, for being a lap down, is a really fast race car. Shame he is a lap down, because that car is clearly quick. Rogers is holding good here in third, which is good for the points for him. Perez doing a good job. Steinbach's doing a good job. You go back a little bit more, the 10 machine doing a good job. Dominic Anthony's found his way up here. So I mean, you got guys working their magic here. Nicotech Racing, to their credit, hasn't had the fastest cars here tonight, but I mean, they're finding their way in here. Yeah, this has been a beatdown by Alexander Rowe. I gotta give him some credit. I mean, this is thorough domination, start to lap 82 so far.
It has been thorough domination. There's no doubt about that. See Davis working his way around the 54 of Duncan Ward. This is a big battle pack. You see Richard Fridge has worked his way up to 8th with the number 20. He's worked his way around some of these guys. Watson's doing okay. He's 9th. And Davis inside the top 10. Ward back down to 11th. Kelly Lee, we mentioned before, could really benefit from this. Currently running in, or going for 11th now to the inside of Duncan. And side by side off into 1 and 2. Dawn's back in here. The Williams now dropping back a little bit on that outside. And Clifton just doesn't have the race car, does he? He just doesn't have the speed that someone like, let's say, for all intents and purposes, like a Kean Rowley, for example, just doesn't have the race car currently. And that's a real problem. So, speaking of real problems, Eli Bright's got a real problem because Tristan Allen just overtook him. That's cost him a bit of time. Open the door here for the 40 of Rogers now to close back in. That margin now out to 3 seconds. Alexander Rowe's just been in no man's land. It's just been a cruise of a race for the 51. He is a long way ahead of everybody else, and this car's super quick. But this is where the battle's at. Bright trying to hold on to second, trying to hold off Jake Rogers.
Let's see if Bright can hang on to Jake Rogers, but Rogers is absolutely really fast here. So I do think that this boy will eventually get past Eli Bright. Still a great one, all things considered, for Bright for getting involved in a wreck, but I don't think he has a contending car anymore compared to what he did in the first one. Because Rogers keeps on getting better and better. But no one is better than Alexander Rowe. But a lot of great stories inside of the top 10, a lot of shuffling around, and it's been a lot of fun getting this one. But we still have pit stops again, and that is going to be the deciding factor. And we could see pit stops here in about 10 laps or so. And we saw what happened the first time we had a wet because of it down in 1 and 2. So we gotta see if that happens again or not. But regardless of the fact, like Matt said, a dominating performance from Alexander Rowe, a 3-second lead now, the biggest all night. But we still have 35 laps to go.
It doesn't happen on an oval where you get a beat down like this. It doesn't happen particularly often. It's very impressive when it does happen because of how rare it is. But the 51's just been super impressive. And this is the run he needs. 2013 points. He's obviously locked up the most laps in this race because he's just about led every lap. But actually, he might have led every lap.
I think he has led every lap.
I think he has led every lap so far in this race. The point is, right, this is the run he needs because of how far down in the championship he was. One of the favourites this year to win the title. Hasn't gone his way the last few weeks. So he's just hoping that nothing bad happens on his pit stop, or he doesn't have a mechanical issue on the run home. Bright is holding Rogers at bay though. This is very impressive from the 95, although right on cue, Rogers gets to the inside and looks like he finally may get around Bright for second, although Bright's going to drive in very deep into turns 1 and 2 on that outside. Side by side here for second position. And Bright's going to continue to fight. Steinbach's going for 4th behind them as well. I think he's got around Perez as Rogers now clears the 95. So Rogers to second, Bright to third, and Steinbach has got around Brain Perez, and Dawson Miller is pitted again. So early pit stops now. So when do you come down if you're Alexander Rowe? That's the question that will need to be answered, because right now he's in an unassailable position. And he is well on his way to victory, but cannot have anything happen on pit road or under the pit cycle, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, and this is here we go. Here we go. This is one of the. It's not the hardest pit road in the series to get on and off, but the way that the track evolution is, and where the blend lines are, makes it risky at times. There's a lot of cars on pit road here, which I actually think works in his favor of getting some extra guys off the racetrack, and he's not going to lead every lap here tonight, as Braden Perez is going to get his turn here across the top of the pylon. So cool for Perez, but also show how dominant that Alexander Rowe has been where this late into the race. Get off pit road, 4 tires here, and then it's just take a look and see where he blends back out. That's Eli Bright.
Oh, that's close.
Oh, that was almost not good.
That was very close there, but that worked out for Steinbach. He's up to effectively second with that. He's got ahead of Bright, who may have repaired some of that damage on the pit stop, perhaps. There's the 92. You saw the 20. He's coming off the pit road. That's Richard Fridge. Oh, and something's happened to Paulus in the 63. Oh. That's a shame, because he was running pretty well. He's just repairing some runs of damage. So may have got the wall somewhere or got involved with something. There's Fridge. There's Rogers. He lost a lot of ground on pit road. And he's a long way back of Bright. So that didn't work out for the 40 at all. And Addison Steinbach in the 98 all of a sudden is, not that far behind the 51, only 2 seconds. So, I don't know, could this be a career-defining night for Addison Steinbach, perhaps, in the 98? Can he run down the 51? He's got a lot of lap cars in between himself and the 51, it should be said, but right now, second position would be a career-best finish. So then it's Bright in third. Brain Perez is still in fourth, so that went out all right for him. Got a bonus point for leading a lap. Rogers was the big loser. He lost a lot of ground. Now 6 seconds off the lead of the race. Ken Raleigh is 6th. Richard Fridge is 7th. Dominic Anthony, Benny Watson, and now Kelly Lee inside the top 10. So Lee and Anthony are in a good position here. Steinbach as well. He is second currently on the track. He's 11th in points. So even if he can't get the win, and he's losing a lot of time in this lap traffic, but even if he can't get the win, second place or top 3 would be a very, very strong result for that 98 team. They're doing a very, very nice job at the moment. In terms of Dawson Miller, Miller is 30th at the moment. He's actually not that far away from the 71. He's only 2 positions on the track behind him. So after all that for Dawson Miller, it may not be the worst possible outcome. 30th position is not great, but it could have been a lot worse. Noah Clifton, though, 15th, pretty sure would take the championship lead with that. So a lot to play out as you see Bright's trying to work his way around these lap cars and get to the 98 and have a crack here for second, because let's be honest, it seems very unlikely that anybody's going to catch this guy at the moment. Alexander Rowe, well over 3 seconds now in front of the 98. And the 98 stuck behind some of these lap cars. Bright now tangling with Ethan Lewis and Tyson Gifford back in here. You've got to be careful here if you're the 95 and it gets to the inside of Lewis.
Still got 20 laps to go, but this has basically been the housing in the row 500. He's led almost every single lap, and whenever it's green flag and not in pit lane, he's had at least a 2-second lead. And really, ever since that first one, it's been mostly 3 seconds, and now it's almost 4 seconds. So it's looking good for my pick. I might not jinx anyone this time. Maybe that doesn't work on road channels to it, but well, he doesn't want that to happen, and he does not want the Sable Trains to happen here tonight. But it's been a fun race from second on back, though. Seen a lot of maneuvers and a lot of drivers dropping back. And
no, that's not good.
That is bad for Caleb Rose.
That's very bad news for Caleb Rose. A tyre has gone down on the 32. He will make it back to pit road, but that... it's slowed down a fair bit. Made me think he's going to stop, but no, he does make it back to pit road. So there's a bit of a heart attack moment there for Tyson Gifford, the team owner of Gifford Technologies Incorporated, but it was fair in 32 making it back to pit road. So Steinbach's still in second. That margin now out to 4 seconds. So he's just struggling to get around the lap cars at the moment, the 98. To be fair, Eli Bright is also struggling a little bit here. And don't count out some of these guys back here. So Rogers is closing in a little bit. Brain Perez is in fourth, and they're slowly catching those guys in front. So something to keep an eye on here with now 15 to go. One other thing I want to say about Alexander Rowe while we got the chance is that he won a Bristol race in Season 5 where he led 123 of 125 laps. But this is far more impressive given that this is a much easier track to overtake than Bristol. What he has done here tonight has just been unbelievable. Right from the jump, you could see he had real intention and has driven the wheels off the Jack Daniels Chevrolet. And Steinbach is slowly working his way around the lap cars. He's got Nicholas Samadeo next in line. And with Eli Bright stuck behind 3 lap cars at the moment, Anderson Steinbach looking like he will get second, although of course not over yet. It's looking really good for him to get a career best finish in the Cup Series. And Eli Bright with the damage, he'd probably take a 3rd place, I think, all things considered. But Rogers is closing in here too. He's probably a bit, unhappy after the slow pit stop. He's now up to 4th. He's got around Perez. And Kian Raleigh back in here as well in car 10 is closing in. Richard Fridge also in the game back in here. So the minor placings, still a lot to play out, but Looks like Alexander Rowe, of course, going to win this race, and Steinbach looking good for second.
Yeah, Steinbach looking really strong here. He's still been a great drive for the 98 machine. Worked his way through the field here tonight. Eli Bright has held his ground here. Good starting spot, is on pace to convert it to a podium here unless Jake Rogers catches him. You can say Rogers might catch him. That 40 is quick here as he's working his way through the last of the lap traffic. But Alexander Rowe, I mean, he has put, hell, he's put almost half the field a lap down here at this point. I mean, he's worked his way past Matthew Huber. He's put more than half the field a lap down. He's about a lap Nathan Smith in 17th. He's probably going to get Logan Williams in 16th before this is over. Maybe Noah Clifton up the road, Thomas Troxel. Like you said, this is one of the most dominant performances that we've seen on an oval in quite a hot minute. And I think I said earlier in the race, if we didn't get a caution, he might have lapped if that caution didn't come out, I think he could have lapped almost everybody on this field tonight with how fast he's been.
And you know what? In a little bit of irony, he kind of caused that caution with the contact with Vargas. He kind of is the instigator in all of that. So, yeah, who knows what would have happened if that caution didn't come out. But he's got now 6 laps to go. The margin between second and third is now over a second. So Steinbach looks like he's got the second position pretty well sewn up. Where it's at the moment is the battle for third, because Rogers has got a fast car. He's a bit angry. Unless he took maybe a different strategy. He took some 4 tyres. Let's say Bright took 2 perhaps. I'm not sure if that's the case, but the 40's been quite quick here in this last run. Braden Perez, by the way, has dropped a lot. He's dropped down to 8th. He's actually behind Benny Watson. Richard Fridge has done quite well in this race. Same with Rowley, who's had a fast car. So there's still a lot to play out in terms of the minor placings, but you see Bright getting around Sustre. 4 laps to go. And that'll put a lap car between himself and the 40, but Alexander, of course, a long way up the road and well on his way to win. But we'll see if Rogers can get around Sustre and have a crack at the 95 with 3 laps to go now.
If only the 40 had a better pit stop. Maybe, just maybe, he could have had a shot at Alexander. Well, I don't know, maybe not, but at least maybe it could be a second place one for the Rogers team versus a 4th place one. But no one's been even close to Alexander here tonight, Stuart. It's been the Alexander 500 at Colorado.
Well, I reckon he's going to lead. I said that he led 123 laps in that Bristol race. I reckon he's going to lead 123 in this race as well. He takes the white flag. 1 lap to go for Alexander Rowe. This would be his 6th career win in the Cup Series. Margin now under 4 seconds, but it's all academic back there. Rogers may get Bright for 3rd. We'll see what happens there at the end. But Alexander Rowe has dominated from the pole. Alexander Rowe wins the Budget Truck Rental 500. He is the first ever winner in Colorado. He gets it done easily. A career night for Addison Steinbach, 2nd place for the 98. Well done to him. Bright did hold off Jake Rogers for 3rd. Nice drive from the 95, all things considered, with the damage on that car. And Kian Rowley rounded out the top 5. So nobody was able to beat Alexander Rowe. He was sensational. See the results on your screen now. Rowe from Steinbach, 3.744 seconds the difference. Bright 3rd, Rogers, Rowley inside the top 5, and then Fridge, Watson, Perez, Anthony, and Dawn inside the top 10. And so while we calculate the points, I'll let you guys ramble about the race and the dominant performance of Alexander Rowe.
Yeah, that was, anytime you can lap up to 17th, I think says a lot about the kind of car that you had and the kind of performance you put in as a driver. So, you got to tip your cap there to Alexander Rowe. Gifford had fast cars. It wasn't just Alexander Rowe was strong. That whole team looked really solid here tonight with... Sorry, my voice still is on the mend with Anthony, and Guo was up there early on. Steinbeck looked good. Nathan, your guy Eli, looked good. Jake Rogers, I still think, is probably the scariest dog in the championship, the way he's able to carve through the field. And Benny Watson, I don't think we talked about Benny Watson once all race. Nathan, he came home P7, double top 8, double top 7 for you guys. I mean, what did you think of what you watched here tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Here tonight, it was definitely very interesting. From second on bat, we saw a lot of movers throughout the field with several drivers like Matt Davis, Brian Perez, Rogers, etc., etc. There's so many movements throughout the top 10. It did provide with a lot of entertainment here tonight, but Alexander just absolutely dominated this one, pulled away from the field on the start and the restart. There was a moment in time before that caution where maybe Eli Boy had something for Alexander, but at the end of the night, no one did. So, a dominant night from Alexander, but a fun race. He had a very fun race track, one of the newer ones in this whole Manila community, and it's definitely put on a show here tonight throughout the field, and Alexander wins dominating fashion, but definitely under here tonight.
Championship standings after 7 races, and the jumbled up order means that Noah Clifton now leads the championship by 3 points. It wasn't his best night, but he'll take the championship lead. No complaints there. 3 points ahead of Dawson Miller, 6 points ahead of Henry Guo, and then Allen and Lee now inside the top 5 with Anthony Bent. Addison Steinbach now up to 8th in the championship. He's at 4 top 10s in a row, so maybe there's something there for Addison Steinbach and the 98 team. Hubert and Eli Bright make up the top 10. You see the rest of the standings right there. It's a very, very interesting, very, very mixed race, I think it's fair to say. And I mean, Alexander Rowe led so many laps and dominated that race, but he was... Beyond that, there was a lot of chopping and changing, as you guys talked about, so a lot of battling up and down the field, and so I think beyond the battle for the lead, which was non-existent, it was a good battle for every other position up and down the field. That caution came out, changed the dynamic of where guys like Dawson Miller, for example, and Tristan Allen and Brandon Bent, the real heavy hitters, they all got trapped. Henrik Waugh all got trapped a lap down, and that really cost them in terms of their result tonight. And so it shapes up now for a very, very interesting stretch, because next up we've got Homestead, which is always a fun race. Always love the Homestead Miami Speedway and what it brings. Thank you very much to both of you for joining the call tonight. And it wasn't a great battle for the lead, obviously, but it was good fun beyond that, and great to have you both on the call. And as we said, next week is the Homestead Miami Speedway, which of course will be the home of the finale as well. So we get a little preview of what the finale will race like, the final race of the season as well. But we've still got 23 races to go in the season, 3 points separating the top 2, 6 points separating the top 3. A lot to play out here in the Gratton Cup Series, and it's going to be very, very entertaining. So congratulations to Alexander Rowe, and for Matt Tuck and Nathan Stapleton, Stuart Grant signing off. We'll see you next week at Homestead Miami.